Alright. Han, grab those documents there, please. Hi guys. Thank you. Oh, on air. That's the go button.
You're listening to the Go Commercial Hour on freedomtalkradio.net.
Alright, we're on air again. Show 244. Tuesday, 27th of January 2015. Well, babe?
Well, babe. Okay, looks like we've got Francis and his crew of thugs where we want them. Because we've sent 33 faxes through to the international, there they are, all received.
This is the International Criminal Court
in The Hague.
Now, this is the fax cover page here, and this is the transmission journal. It took 15 minutes and 11 seconds. It was 34 pages. The result, okay. And the date and time on this is the 26th of January, and it's 10:22 in Australia, 10:22 p.m., which is 22:22. Isaiah 22:22, the key to the house of David. So that's done. It was not the advice of the lawyer, however, we knew that. That was an exercise in...
Yeah, the lawyer was a moron, right? So
anyway,
we're doing what he said not to do, and therefore, because it was really stupid advice.
Yeah.
And the best way to find out if to do something is to ask a moron, because they'll always tell you the wrong thing. So ask 1,000 morons, and you'll certainly come up with what I would say to do in the first place.
But I always find what it does do is that because I was getting all the evidence together for him, so I spent all Saturday getting it together, the more than 300 pages of evidence, and put it all, well, that's all ready to go now. Just that, here, already done for anybody. So this was addressed to the International Criminal Court, and Mr. James Stewart in particular, but there's 5 in that court. 4 are from the African nations, and James Stewart is from Canada as the deputy, and he is the one that oversees the other divisions, etc. So this is the Information and Evidence Unit, Office of the Prosecutor, Post Office Box 19519, 2500 CM The Hague, the Netherlands, with the fax number. It's a great fax number. It's 3170-515-8555. Where have you heard that number before? What is also interesting is that the longitude and latitude of The Hague is 52.22 degrees north. Hello, 5 Alpha 222. Your birth hour.
It's the phone number of where I was conceived.
No, that's 555. We're talking
Well,
about 222. No, the fax number is 555.
Yeah?
Yeah, the fax number is 555. But yeah, no, that's the latitude. The longitude is 4.54 degrees east, which is the height of the pyramid without the capstone in place. So anyway, so from the Christ, Mr. Brian Lenegal like Marshall, blah blah blah, all contact details contained within the document. I'll read the, it's 10 pages of the executive summary, 11 pages it ended up being, and then attached also, forwarded also, the letter from Sister Maria de la Rosa, and in Christum Credent, of course, and then just as to explain to the court how it is that the Christ proves himself, that letter that was written for Justin Welby, the Archbishop of Canterbury, that sets it all out rather clearly and plainly. So they're supposed to be intelligent ladies and gentlemen in at the court. They should be able to grasp what it is that Christ has been revealing for a very long time. Dear Mr. Stewart, come right out in the first lines what it's all about. The Christ is returned and announced by Pope Benedict XVI on March 12, 2013. For announcing the Christ, Pope Benedict was imprisoned in Castel Gandolfo, and his two witnesses to the second coming were kidnapped April 3, 2013, and then 10 days later one of them was reported by an eyewitness to have been murdered by men hired by Pope Francis. The absolute proof and evidence for identifying the Christ has been sent as a part of this fax, a copy of a 7-page letter sent to the Archbishop of Canterbury, Justin Welby, containing the tip of a very large iceberg of evidence recorded within the measure of the creation. There is a media blackout and a Vatican cover-up. Christ is subject to the Protocols of Zion number 14, which simply states, "We shall forbid Christ," and many attempts have been made against his life, including the ingestion of cyanide, placed in his food in Coombs, BC, Canada by Mossad in 1995, to no avail. As a matter of fact, the agent who arranged it exclaimed, "You really are Christ." All the world leaders have been notified and have tried to kill the Christ. Elizabeth II should be named in this indictment. She is the head of the Anglican Church and has known of the Christ's presence for years. However, the prophecy is that the Lord would be rejected and the churches will come to him and say, "Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in thy name, and in thy name have cast out devils, and done many wonderful works? And then will I profess unto them, I never knew you. Depart from me, ye who work iniquity." That's Matthew 7, 22, 23. Now, moving on to the meat of this, Pope Francis and his Archbishop Gänswein are to be charged with kidnapping, murder and conspiracy to defraud the nations of peace and rest, which can only come through the kingdom of God being established by the Christ, leading the way for all the nations and peoples of the earth. After reading this executive summary of events, you may reply it is not within the jurisdiction of the ICC. However, since the purpose of the ICC is to investigate crimes against the innocent, the information contained within this first contact discloses the greatest event in history being suppressed. When this information is made known to the peoples of the nations, the news alone brings a stop to the war, terror, genocide and slaughter of the innocent. Then it goes on with the facts. From March the 8th, 2013, 4 days before the convening of the conclave, all of the cardinals were made aware through fax and email announcements that the Christ is back. But the conclave went ahead when it should have been stopped to carry out an investigation. Beginning March 11th, 2013, Australian Eastern Standard Time is the greatest cover-up and crime in the history of the earth. A new pope was elected after Pope Benedict XVI had announced he had met Christ via email in Australia on March 12, 2013, the day the conclave began and the day before the election of George Bergoglio. The whole reason for the existence of the Roman Catholic Apostolic Church is to hand it over to the Christ when he has made his presence known to the leader of the Church. If it had been the case that Pope Benedict XVI made the same statement before he announced his retirement on February 11, 2013, the entire Christian world would sit up and listen, regardless of the position of the Protestant religions. The 1.2 billion Catholic faithful are compelled to follow the direction of the Pope. This would stop all conflicts around the globe in their tracks, as all are directly or indirectly caused by Zionism. This is what occurred. On March the 9th, 2013, a German lady was able to contact the office of Pope Benedict XVI at Castel Gandolfo. She had known about the man Christ for 3 years, his dual nationality Australian-Canadian. The Pope replied, and arrangements were made to communicate with the Christ in Australia through live emailing. Benedict at first was sceptical, as reflected in his first 2 emails sent through the night while the Christ was asleep, and so not being able to respond until later that morning. After several hours of communication, it was evident to Benedict he was indeed communicating with the Christ. He came to the conclusion on the 12th of March 2013 before the conclave commenced. On the 23rd of March 2013, Pope Benedict XVI met with the new Pope Francis at Castel Gandolfo, where Benedict told Pope Francis he had finally met Christ, whose new name of the Revelation 3:12 and the name written that only he would know of the Revelation 19:12 is Brian Leonard Golightly Marshall, the one whose image is that of the Shroud of Turin. Francis, of course, rejected the news as expected, since he is the biblical Antichrist. The 45-minute meeting was witnessed and photographed by Archbishop Gänswein, the prefect of the pontifical household for Benedict XVI and Francis. The 2 other witnesses to the second coming unfolding within and who remained in Benedict's office are Sister Maria della Rosa, a nun who was housekeeper and friend to the Pope for 20 years. Her duty was to be in charge of the biography of the communication between His Holiness and the Christ, Brian Leonard Golightly Marshall. Father Giuseppe Ciavello, computer literate, was communicating with Mrs. Marshall in the office of the Christ via Facebook messaging. It was he who made the arrangements for Pope Benedict and the Christ to email each other through a private Gmail account that had been made exclusively for the Advent. The printed copies of those emails, as well as the Facebook messaging conversations that continued until April 13, 2013, are the more than 300 pages of evidence available for an investigation by authorities and have been made available to the public through internet sites like scribd.com since April 2013. In addition, 3 witnesses were in the office of the Christ in Australia, who recorded the events as well as others from around the world that was being forwarded. Facebook communications with Father Ciavello, they too are available. The events that followed the meeting between Benedict and Francis on March 23, 2013 are as follows. Keep in mind every detail of them is part of the printed record of the emails and messaging between the Christ and the Papal Office of Benedict. In the March 23, 2013 meeting, Pope Benedict asked and was given permission by Francis to publish his words in an apostolic letter that Pope Benedict was writing announcing the return of the Christ to the world. So Francis knew this was going down from the meeting. Yeah, sure, go ahead. The apostolic letter Pope Benedict called In Christum Credent was finished and uploaded to the internet on March 26, 2013, Australia time.
That's nice.
Oh, try not to snap. Oh. Right. The apostolic letter was sent to a friend of Father Giuseppe Ciavello in Toronto, Canada, for uploading to the internet because Father Giuseppe found he mysteriously could not upload it from Rome. The name of the friend was Monsignor Giovanni Rossini. The apostolic letter was sent to the email of the Christ from Pope Benedict's Gmail account, evidencing its source. Pope Benedict requested a YouTube video be made of the reading to the world, his announcement through In Christum Credent. The video was uploaded to the YouTube channel of the Christ called Sword of Truth 888 at that time. The current channel is Sword of Truth 3168. The apostolic letter In Christum Credent is sent with this fax. And then I say, it should be an easy matter for you as deputy of the ICC to identify yourself to Georg Gänswein at the Vatican and ask to speak directly to Pope Benedict XVI to ask him, did you write the apostolic letter In Christum Credent announcing Brian Leonard Golightly Marshall as Christ? End of story. If you are not allowed to speak with him, then you know that Gänswein has everything to hide. March 29, 2013, it was made known by George Gänswein to Father Giuseppe and Pope Benedict and the Office of the Christ that Pope Francis would not accept the news of the returned Christ. So this is 6 days later, giving me plenty of space to come to terms with it. No. That was because I said to Giuseppe, you know, how's Francis? What does George say about Francis? So he phoned specifically, said, hang on, I'll phone George. So he did, then came back with a message. George says, sadly, no, he won't accept it. Alright, so March 30th, 2013, RAI TV was airing a documentary that Pope Benedict had organised on March the 3rd, 2013, when he went to Turin Chapel and allowed the TV cameras in for the first time in 30 years. Mrs. Marshall, through the Facebook messaging to Father Giuseppe, commented they were about to watch the documentary live through the internet from Australia in 4 minutes' time. Father Giuseppe was surprised and remarked that he had not been told, and so told Pope Benedict, who then phoned RAI TV to find out what was going on, since he, Benedict, had not been contacted by the station to confirm with him when the documentary was to be shown. Father Giuseppe reported that he had not seen Pope Benedict so angry. RAI told him that Pope Benedict's video recording that was to go before the showing of the documentary and was the public announcement to the world revealing the Christ returned, the one whose image is the Shroud of Turin, was Brian Menegolati Marshall, had been cancelled by Francis. That recording was to have been a surprise for the Christ, something the Christ, had he been asked, would have advised against, knowing the danger Benedict was surrounded by. That night, Father Giuseppe and Pope Benedict worked on putting together a simple video PowerPoint in Italian set to music, alerting the world to what had happened. It was a plea to the Christian world for help for Benedict, since he now knew he had become a prisoner in the Vatican like Pius IX. The video was sent to the email of the Christ and was asked to publish it to the YouTube, which was done that same night. The video was also uploaded with the English translation subtitles, which Father Giuseppe gave through the Facebook messaging to Mrs. Marshall. I'm saying, you know, is this right? I'm trying to do Google Translate. He says, no, here, let me do it for you. And that's all plainly there. He did the English translation, and I gave it to Joel. There's the disciple, a disciple of the Christ from London, made himself available to go to Benedict at Castel Gandolfo to help and record using video camera Benedict and Giuseppe's live testimony for the world to know. The disciple, whose name is Dexter Sheehan, was to fly into Rome at 5 p.m. on April the 3rd, 2013, and the details were messaged through Facebook to Father Giuseppe. In the early hours of the morning of April the 3rd, 2013, at about 1:30 a.m. Rome time, Father Giuseppe, while messaging Mrs. Marshall through his personal Facebook page called Giuseppe Giavello, sent a distressed message in all capital letters, saying that Francis had hacked his Facebook and knew about Dexter coming, and so he was to be defrocked as priest, taken out of the Laszlo region to a place unknown, and he no longer had control over the Facebook page he had created for In Christum Credent. It was to be deleted. Giuseppe was to be charged with treason for helping Benedict with In Christum Credent. Now, he actually said they don't want Dex to get to him, that it was all to get them out of the way before Dex got to Rome. And he did. He spent 5 days in Rome. He went to Castel Gandolfo, but of course by this time it was shut down, locked down, and just because of this night, these hours, Benedict he was the hostage, he was the prisoner. The last communication from Father Giuseppe's personal Facebook page, April the 3rd, 2013, was at 2:36 a.m. Rome time, when the police who were watching Giuseppe message Mrs. Marshall, type, "Ciao, we are the police, stop talking to," and they had a typo, P, "Giuseppe, he will stop Facebook now," end quote. The following email was sent to the Christ, Mr. Marshall, using Pope Benedict's Gmail account. This is the one in Italian and then English, or English and then Italian, with the coat of arms. I'll show you in a minute. The title was Re Controllo Finale per Brian Marshall. from Pontiff Emeritus Benedict, and then the email address to Brian Gallighton Marshall, email April the 3rd, 2013. Now, this was at 1:45:16 p.m. This is our time. Hello, these are the inspectors of Pope Francis. This is an update requested by Giuseppe Ciavello when asked for any final requests as a Catholic priest. The following updates are occurring at this moment. 1. This email no longer belongs to the Pope Emeritus and will be deleted permanently after this update message is sent. 2. Giuseppe Ciavello is no longer a Catholic priest and has been relocated. We are not telling you where he is. 3. Sister Maria della Rosa is still a Catholic nun but has been moved to a convent outside of Italy. We are not saying where she is exactly. 4. Archbishop Georg has sworn not to speak a word of you and is forced not to listen to what you say. 5. The new pontifical household will consist of Pope Francis's former investigators, so these are buddies, he's known from the past, used for his thuggery obviously. They are not priests and will tend to his needs. Along with only a few nuns, he will have no contact with any of you. Number 6, Monsignor Giovanni Rossini is no longer a Catholic Monsignor priest and has been relocated for sending in Christum Credant. We are not saying where he is. Many thanks, they finish. So that's the English version. That is the coat of arms, of course, chosen by Francis once he became Pope. And then the next is the Versione L'Italiano, so it's repeated in Italian. So I continue in this summary. We're up to page 7. To this day, Father Giuseppe, Sister Maria della Rosa, Monsignor Giovanni Rossini are missing. Father Giuseppe was reported shot dead at Casavili, Sicily on April the 13th, 2013 by a man hired by Francis. Sicily, the place Giuseppe was taken to out of Lazio, to a house organised by Francis for holding him prisoner, from where he tried to escape when he was gunned down. Everything is recorded in the emails and Facebook messages. Then, April the 11th, 2013, 8 days after the kidnapping, Giuseppe was able to get word to us again using his Facebook on a computer conveniently supplied and was obviously being watched by the men Francis hired. Giuseppe described what happened to himself and Benedict the night they took him away. The last he saw of Benedict was him on the ground crying. The thugs had punched him in the ear and was bleeding as he tried to stop them handcuffing Giuseppe, who was taken in a black car, and they all drive black Mercedes at the Vatican. The Pope ride, yeah, they're all black cars. Mercedes for the upper echelon and black whatever. Real mafioso style, you know. That's what I said, outside the Vatican, you know, amongst the crowds and the hordes of people. And speaking to a tour guide there who spoke good English but was of, could have been even from Argentina, I don't know. But anyway, bottom line is, I told him what's going on. I said, listen, this is what is really going on. He just looked at me, first of all, like, so, and then says, well, mafioso. It's mafia. Tour guide, he gets paid for mafia, thuggery. Anyway, bottom line. Alright, so, taken black car, chloroform, woke up in a basement to be kicked in the jaw, was taken by train to Avoca, Sicily, to a house organised by Francis, who, now get a load of this, so Francis thoughtfully organised a friend of Giuseppe's to be hostage with him. The men hired by Francis found Giuseppe messaging us once more. They took over again and claimed they were the Antichrist, they were the ones doing this, and to watch what Francis has up his sleeves. This was 2 days before the reported shooting of Father Giuseppe. The following is the notice by the friend eyewitness to Giuseppe's gunning down. And then I cut and pasted what you saw yesterday on the video that we did in front of yesterday's show. This is the friend of Giuseppe Ciavello and the eyewitness account. The 8 shots, you know, 3 in the head, 3 in the chest and 3 in the rib cage, you know. what have we got? Some kind of genuflecting going on here, and then the funeral card that was sent into Ya's email, which was also shown on yesterday's video. Anyway, Reposa in peace, amico, my friend, yeah, so rest in peace. So, alright, so that was posted in the body of this as well. So it continues. The Christ and Mrs. Marshall went to Rome and stayed 6 months, arriving in the Castel Gandolfo area on April 28, 2013. They took with them the printed evidence of everything that had transpired, as well as the YouTube video recordings of all events uploaded from the beginning. So, you know, I walked around with this very heavy document folder of every page, the emails, the Facebook messaging, the notices, everything. Of course, all the sites where they can go and see the video uploads, which are apart from the printed evidence. Right, they went to the Vatican May the 2nd, 2013, requesting to see Archbishop Gänswein, he the man who organises audiences for both popes. The Vatican office took copies of their passports and told them to fax a request to Gänswein and gave them the number. They were sitting in the office at 5:15 p.m. local time as Gänswein was accompanying Pope Benedict back to the Vatican from Castel Gandolfo in the papal helicopter. Benedict was moved out of Castel Gandolfo 10 days early. We were told by one of the locals, that was Maria, who did the oil painting of the shrouded Ya, charged €300 for this tiny little thing, and Ya did end up doing better. But anyway, she's a local, lives outside the palace at Castel Gandolfo, and she said he's due to go back to the Vatican on May the 12th, when the renovations should be finished. Well, we arrived the 28th, and of course, first upload was us sitting outside the papal palace in the courtyard there, eating gelato. I'm going over to the bank machine and blah, 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 so we upload that to the internet. And next thing you know, we just happened to be at the Vatican this day, May the 2nd, when 10 days early he comes in by helicopter as we are sitting in the office. Remember, it's all part of the record that we were threatened that if we went to Rome, then these men working would have us arrested. And they were trying to find out our movements, what our plan was. Because we told Giuseppe we were going to Rome, so part of it was, well, where are you going, what are you doing, when are you arriving, and are you going to do this, like are we going to protest outside the Vatican, this kind of thing. And the warning was that these men will stop you. Well, so we were in the Vatican office, they took our passports, it was all rather amusing. We got in miraculously, a door opened to us that should not have, we're inside this area. The guard came and says, as we're walking up the stairs to this place, says, excuse me, you know, like, can I help you? What are you doing here? I said, we want to see Archbishop Gänswein. And he just looked at us like, I mean, are you people nuts? What can you expect? We're Australian. Come all this way to see Benedict, and we are friends of Benedict. So he directed us to another building. Anna knows what it was all about. It was Paul VI building, apparently. And they're saying, what are you doing here? Like, oh, well, that's where you need to go. So we went over to the little box where the gendarmes were standing, told them.
So they had to throw us out, so they threw us out in the direction of Gänswein. Well,
they told us where to go, yeah, totally. They were all very helpful. They were just surprised that we were in there. How did we get past everybody? Because we got in through this door that opened for us, you know, because I said to Ya, no, we're not leaving here till something happened. He was feeling very ill. Anna was right. Her recollection of that was spot on, because Ya started to feel really sick. I mean, the Vatican asked Jonas, he's been there, he said, it's surrounded by demons, and plus all the blood that's been spilled. Look, we're talking about yesterday's video. You know, where is Giuseppe? If he's not dead, if they've got him in prison, where is he? Well, you know, underneath St. Peter's Square where the fountain is, that's apparently like a secret dungeon, stuff like that, where the water leaks down, and all this kind of horror. Not to mention all the skulls under the catacombs, the 6 million angel landers and that kind of thing. So yeah, Ya was feeling sick, and I was saying, well, we're not leaving here until we make some kind of headway. So that's when doors opened, and we end up in the Vatican office. And much to the astonishment, well, you can't see Archbishop Gänswein unless you have an appointment. Well, how do we do that? Well, here's a phone number, blah blah blah, and all the rest of it. So great, we start walking out. They get a phone call from upstairs, because they'd been phoning upstairs, you know, to see Archbishop, blah blah blah. And the news must have got through to him. Goes, oh shit. Anyway, un momento, back from the doorway. Un momento, can we see your ID, your document? That means ID, passport. So, hand over the passports, they photocopied everything. I gave them the address of where we're staying, our local telephone numbers. We just got, so we became real targets then. But as it turned out, we couldn't even find the address on GPS, let alone then. But the helicopters were flying over that area where we were staying a lot. Seemed like the course from the Vatican to the, because you could watch the helicopter go from the Vatican over to where Castel Gandolfo was. Well, it seemed like their course changed and went directly over our hovering little, slowly over the place where
watch me waving at them.
Oh, we're out in the balcony, hello! And then it would go on up to just a couple of kilometres to Castel Gandolfo, and it was all very exciting. We really were expecting commandos or something to...
I was hoping so.
It didn't happen.
Shit at them.
Yes. So that was all right. So the Marshal sent a fax to Archbishop Gänswein requesting an appointment to see Benedict, since the Christ had promised Benedict he would come to see him in Rome. No response, and no answer through his phone, although called numerous times. They wrote to the commander of the Swiss Guard telling of the events and placed the letter in the box outside the Vatican. They went to the police at Castel Gandolfo. Then the Rome police, who told them they could do nothing. It was the Rome police who said this is an international affair. They went to the German embassy, who looked through the evidence, and then nothing, although Angela Merkel did make a visit to Francis shortly after. That's where they've got that stupid photograph, front page, where she's like going this to Francis and he's looking at with, sideways with this big cheesy, stupid grin on his face, and all very... The Republican newspaper was notified. We talked to reporters outside who were very interested, gave them all the information, where to look, find all the rest of it, of course, nothing. The Republican newspaper was notified, as well as numerous Catholic and German agencies. The list is extensive. As Anna will testify, we went to Freiburg, and the dude that, what's his title in Germany, the former Reich, the Chancellor, that it still is in position there. It was all sent by express straight to them, so everybody was notified. Now we do these things, as Brian keeps saying, we do these things to demonstrate the lengths that we have gone to. And this really is because all of you who have been on this from the beginning have also emailed, electronically, notified thousands of institutions, media stations, blah, blah, blah. There's no slackness here when it comes to the work that has been done to continue to notify everybody. Queen Elizabeth II, who is the custodian of the throne of England, which is the throne of David before the Christ, until he has made his presence known, was served a notice of declaration claim to the throne of England. She received it June 14, 2010, and is in default to the Christ by not responding. She cannot counterclaim, since she does not have a superior body of evidence than the Christ. That evidence proving absolutely who he is and has been presented to the world for the last 20 years. Elizabeth II also received a letter from the Christ dated June 10, 2013, mailed to her from Folkestone, England, that's where we were staying, telling her of the events surrounding Benedict and his announcement of the Christ, along with the apostolic letter. Letters were also sent to the Archbishop of Canterbury, including the apostolic letter. Now, October the 26th, 2013, while the Christ and Mrs. Marshall were in Egypt, they received a letter from Sister Maria della Rosa, who described the events of the early hours of April the 3rd, 2013, from her perspective. In the letter, Sister Maria della Rosa clearly states that the Archbishop Gael Gänswein was the traitor and leader of 5 men dressed in suits working for Francis, who forced their way past her. Gänswein preventing her from warning Benedict and Giuseppe upstairs. He whispered in her ear that she was to speak Maltese from now on, sister. And she heard fighting going on in Benedict's office and then was taken away against her will. A drive in a car, then a helicopter ride, then a small jet where she was drugged. She later woke up in a convent in Malta in the late night hours of April 3rd, 2013. She remained there until June the 14th, 2013, and the details can be read in her letter faxed with this summary. Then December the 6th, 2013, a request was left at the YouTube Sword of Truth 3168 channel of the Christ by one representing Francis, who was asking for open communication to begin at the YouTube site. That did not happen, even though the invitation was welcomed. The one making the request got a message out on January the 2nd, 2014 that he had been reassigned was all he could say. Here is that message. So that also is the screen capture of that message. It's still up on the site today. I'll read it here. I don't know if I read it the other day, but anyway, again. This was from Andrew Pereira. It was December the 6th, 2013. My firm is occasionally awarded contracts by the Vatican to provide specific time-limited public relations, outreach, polling, petitioning, negotiation and mediation. His Holiness Pope Francis I sends his blessings to you when he recently asked us through a small group of informed and trusted aides. Now I'm assuming that's Alfred Zero, who speaks really good English. It couldn't be George Gänswein, because he is implicated by Sister Maria della Rosa in the letter that was sent to us as the traitor behind it all. So small, informed and trusted aides. Informed of what? Informed of all goings on. Jonas proved it. October last year at the Vatican, the German priest on the outside, yes, I know all about this, it's true. And poor Benedict. To establish a line of communication with your group to facilitate the start of what His Holiness sincerely hopes will become an ongoing dialogue aimed at improving the current state of relations and understanding existing between the Holy Roman Church and your organisation and its supporters. His Holiness firmly believes certain unfortunate and unforeseen circumstances arose unavoidably and soon began fueling the vague fears and dark suspicions that have, on occasion, found anxious and erroneous expression among both groups. It's really very simple. Produce Father Giuseppe, Monsignor Rossini and Sister Maria della Rosa. The Holy Father, however, expresses full faith and confidence that each of the issues and problems attributed to the Holy Church, since His Holiness's blessed election that was all organised prior, you know, the betting in the ring. As a matter of fact, now this is just me speaking, George Gänswein's, what was it, one of his Twitter pages or whatever, you can read during the election, like when the conclave was still coming, he has sent out posts talking about how many wives were among the cardinals in the conclave. Wives, what are we talking about? Well, the homosexuals that were the wife, one of the...
We got the idea.
Yeah, you got the idea. And it was like betting was going on. Hello?
The ones I hang out with. Well, the ones I hang out of.
Oh, all right. All right, so anyway, that was up here. I was disgusted. So they're having bets how many wives were in the conclave and all this kind of stuff. So it's all rigged, just like the elections in the USA and everywhere else that's supposed to be democracy. So, since His Holiness's blessed election to the chair of St. Peter will be easily identified, assessed, explained and understood as obvious and undeniably innocent. Hello? Misunderstandings and misinterpretations. Our use of your YouTube page and postings for this, our initial contact and communication, stems from the directives we have been given to establish and assure transparency in the processes and communications we will help to develop. Great! This is awesome! Strengthen and support. Please keep both your responding and initiated communications with us similarly public and transparent for now. We are confident that our shared efforts and ideas will carry us on a fresh foundation built of mutual trust, respect and honesty to a new, viable and sustainable relationship for the benefit of all. Awesome! As you know, the Christ has given Francis every opportunity to repent. You know, get over yourself. Look, he seems to be a man of action. This is what we need. But while he refuses to announce he is the Antichrist, he stands in opposition. Thank you for your attention to the matters presented here. Please give your careful consideration to the offers and opportunities the Holy Father is advancing. Well, we didn't have to consider it. Yes! Great! Breakthrough! You see, the only thing we want to see is the world of suffering relieved. It all stops. Do you not understand? Only the Christ can bring in the peace. The peace of the Antichrist is a false peace. He's being advertised all around through the media. Oh, he brokered a peace between Cuba and the USA. Oh, like, hello, tiny little Cuba and the USA. Well, that's been ongoing since Kennedy and all the rest of it. And, you know, what a load of bullshit. Oh, and he was behind this and that between this nation and that nation. Well, that's a false peace. Has it stopped any of the slaughter anywhere? Has it stopped Israel, the chosen people, chosen by their god Lucifer? Has it stopped the slaughter of the Palestinians? No, it hasn't. Has it stopped anything going on in Africa? No, it hasn't. So anything you read in the media, a la Rupert Murdoch, one of the chosen people of his god Lucifer. Am I making myself clear? Anyway, on with this. Thank you for your consideration, your attention, blah, 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 all that is advancing. We look forward to your reply in anticipation of a successful and enjoyable collaboration. Great! We're in Hurghada by the Red Sea, for God's sake, are we not? Sounding very biblical, being right beside the Red Sea when we get this communication about to part. And then what happens? Well, we do respond. The video is still up at the site called Good Morning, Pope Francis. And it's me, again, as always, the spokeswoman, the mouth from the south, speaking for Yah, on behalf of Yah, with his authority. And we said, yes, wonderful, thank you, what an opportunity. And for the sake of transparency, I read the letter we had received on the 26th of October. It was dated the 25th of October 2013 from Sister Maria della Rosa. Well, of course, we didn't hear anything else, did we? Because it implicated both of them. It nailed them both. Gänswein more so than Francis. Sister Maria expressed her disgust and her not wanting to be part of the Catholic Church anymore underneath the fake Pope. She just wanted the Christ. So, of course, there was nothing after that. Obviously, the trusted aides until it was Anna who sent Andrew a message. Like, what happened? And he, I've got the screen capture of it in amongst everything. He, because it's up at Anna's Facebook page, you can go over yourself, Andrea, at her Facebook page. She's got all her communications up there. And there is the one where he says on the 2nd of January 2014 that all he could say is that I have been reassigned. So, did it come from Francis or did it come from others who really don't want this cat out of the bag? Alright, so this is still this letter. We're on page 10. There's just one more to go. And then I say in summary, this is the summary to the first approach to the court. In summary, the Bible is a trap for Lucifer. Jesus Christ was and is an Essene of the tribe of Judah through Ireland, England and Scotland. The Christ family migrated to Jerusalem to prepare for the Immaculate Conception, then birth of Mary, who was then prepared by the Essene community at Carmel for the Immaculate Conception, then birth of Jesus on June 17, 2 BC, fulfilling the prophecies of Isaiah 53. Now, I give just a brief paragraph because it is all in the 7 pages written to Archbishop of Canterbury. The Christ returned being reborn as a thief in the night, 2 Peter 3:10, January 11th, 1944 at 2:22 a.m. into Sydney, Australia, which is Ephraim, meaning Bethlehem, for the second advent, fulfilling the prophecies of Isaiah 9:6, 11:1 and 63, 1 through 6. His conception date, April the 6th, 1943, the 96th day of the year and the 1910th anniversary of the resurrection in Jerusalem on April the 5th, 33 AD, April the 6th Australia time, aligns with the verse number Isaiah 9:6, 280 days later, his rebirth date, 11th of January 1944, written 11.1.1944 in Australia, that's how we write the date, aligns with Isaiah 11:1. In the Hebrew gematria of Isaiah 9:6 and 11:1, when the number value of every 7th letter is added together, each verse totals 888. 888 are the Greek gematria for the name Jesus, which is Iesus in Greek. So that's just to whet the appetite because it goes 7 pages long in the letter. The Christ is back and has been announced by Pope Benedict XVI, who is the 8th of the 7 kings of the Revelation, 1711. He will return once the Antichrist Francis is removed. Francis and George Gänswein are directly responsible for the continued war, terrorism, genocide and slaughter of the innocent around the globe by preventing the public announcement of the return of the Christ. Only that announcement will stop the evil perpetrated against the nations, which is all orchestrated by the Zionist-controlled puppet governments of the West, their master and God, Lucifer, exposed. The documented evidence of the advent of the Second Coming and subsequent events leading to the kidnapping and murder of at least one of the witnesses, working with Pope Benedict XVI, is available and compiled for anyone who is of a righteous mind to investigate. This letter also will be uploaded to the internet through various document sites and YouTube, as are all the communications by the Christ for the sake of posterity and to demonstrate to the children to come just how hard the Christ and his wife fought against the evil of this world. Please refer to the letter to Justin Welby for your education about the evidence contained within the creation for the Christ. Brian Leonard, Golightly, Marshall. Then all of the contact details, everything there. And then yours in truth, Christ, Brian Leonard, Golightly, Marshall. Then the 11 pages of In Christum Credent, the 4 pages of the letter received from Sister Maria della Rosa, and then another 7 pages of the evidence. This one says it's addressed to Justin Welby. I did read it the other day, I think. Your Grace, this is the second letter for your edification to be shared among your peers. Hint, hint, Mr. Stewart. This is following, but the following is but the tip of the iceberg, and it will take the next 1,000 years to educate the masses into how my mind works and how it is that I laid out the creation, so that it goes off into a very well laid out, easy to understand explanation of the mind of Christ, which no man can comprehend, are the scriptures from, once again, Isaiah.
Well, Grant does.
Oh, Grant! Oh, no! What a funny guy. All right, okay, so that was then. This was the best part. Actually, I know now why it was delayed. It went through on the 3rd try that the machine, at first it sent about 8 pages and then it just stopped, and I didn't get a report saying why it just stopped. So I'm fussing around at the machine trying to get reports and things, and it told me nothing, you know. And then it tried again and didn't connect. And then while I'm still fussing around and blah, 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 blah with the R and all the rest of it, it tries a third time, and this time it connects and it starts sending pages. So we go out and play pool, and as you, 15 minutes and 11 seconds, I'm running in between shots.
Out of the machine,
Oh, that's because I reset it to give a report every 24 hours or 12 hours or something. Anyway, so I'm coming in every few minutes to check what page it's up to in the sending process, and it was a sweat to get it to page number 34. Yes, and at each one, you know, like page 11, all right, it's on in Christum Credent. Page 23, all right, all of Christum Credent is through. Now it's under Sister Maria's 4 pages. So, yeah, I won those games. Right, babe, you better talk on.
Huh?
So it was a
I'm
good
just
weekend.
writing a letter to another traitor, which you have mentioned, and that is, of course, Archbishop George Gänswein. I'm just laying out his guilt in all of this,
Yes.
and how he is aware that we cure AIDS, malaria, and all those kind of
Yes,
things,
all of that.
perpetuating a genocide around the world.
Yeah, totally. But deaths by diseases, and not to mention starvation, and you know what it's. You do know. So.
So we're going to ship that off to and see what he says in his reply. He has no defence. But whatever he says, of course, will go to the ICC. That's simple. We've already got all the communications that he swore an oath.
Yeah, to the Antichrist. To
What
say
did I say
nothing.
about oaths?
Yes, oath. Let your yes be yes and your no be no. Anything more is of the devil. That was made very plain to Benedict when he first responded. Oh, I've sworn an oath to Francis. I said, well, it's null and void. What, you know, he's a man, for God's sake. Not only that, he's the devil. You know, what about God here? He's just announced he's God, you know, so, hello? But anyway, yeah, I did tell him over and over to lay low, play it cool, sit back, relax. And he got his own back with the face of the statue. It's your face. Michael the Archangel, which of course is the 3, 4 and 13 unusual chromosomes in your blood. It's Michael the Archangel, and everything else, the 11 Michaels and Michelles in your family, and everything points to Michael.
They certainly thought their names out well, didn't they?
They did, yeah, spent a lot of time. Michael, row your boat ashore, hallelujah. Right, so I'm feeling much better now that we're through the weekend. It really was, for me, an intense one. Not only the heat, but just the intensity of the thought processes. And
I'll just read roughly this draft that I'm putting together. This is to Archbishop George Gänswein. It's got to be all tweaked because that's where you come in. Yesterday, January 25th, wasn't it?
26th.
26th?
January.
Yeah, January, as I said. First mistake, hold on. Yesterday, January 26, 2015, we were in contact with the Honourable James Stewart, High Court Justice.
Apparently it's just Mr. Stewart, he's not honourable.
Well, I'm going to leave honourable.
Yeah.
High Court Justice with the International Criminal Court, the ICC in The Hague. Okay, Pope Francis has been charged with murder, kidnapping, false confinement and genocide. You have also been charged with conspiracy with Francis to murder Father Giuseppe Ciavollo, Monsignor Giovanni Rossini and Sister Maria della Rosa, missing and assumed dead or kidnapped.
Well, they're kidnapped, definitely, but presumed dead. We don't know.
Look, you can tweak this, okay?
Oh, all right. That's what I do.
Your own emails to me confirming you were aware of the belief of Pope Benedict XVI, who wrote an apostolic letter and the uploading to his Facebook, Christum Credent. This you witnessed in the discussion between Pope Benedict XVI and Francis in a 45-minute discussion. Francis and Benedict XVI, I said Benefit again, made his belief to me as Christ during the 45-minute interview with, during the discussion. Francis gave his permission for Benedict to write down his words. He also read the 49-point Vatican III I had written for Pope Benedict XVI to replace the present church doctrine Vatican II. Francis warned us that if we came to the Vatican, we would be arrested.
If we came to Rome.
I said you can tweet this.
Oh, all right. Yes, you did, sorry.
Francis warned us that if we come to the Vatican, we would be arrested. We received a letter from Sister Maria della Rosa after she was able to leave Malta, where she reports it was you who spoke to her from outside the basement door late at night, April 3rd, 2013, tricking her into opening the door, allowing 5 of Francis's men in black clothing, who then climbed the stairs and beat His Holiness Pope Benedict XVI and Father Giuseppe Cirillo. You told Sister Della Rosa, who identified you as a traitor of Benedict XVI, telling her you will be talking Maltese, sister. Your oath to Francis in your emails to me states you cannot speak of me anymore in assisting Francis and suppressing the fact benefit of the 16th. Swearing an oath is of the devil. I said, let your yea be nay and your nay be yea.
Then you've really screwed with it all, babe. Totally screwed, no wonder. All right, let's have some music. We're at the end of our show. That's where you're up to so far, is it?
Okay, now we're going to take a video of all this documentation and we'll load it up separately. And that'll be done later when...
Yeah, well, Joel will upload this at the document sites, as usual.
Yeah.
Scribd and his Dropbox, what is it, Dropbox? Where it can be downloaded for the world to see again. And, yeah,
So let your yea be yea or your nay be nay.
That's it. That sounds better. You see, that's what Talmud, isn't it? What is it? The Kol Nidor? Kol Nidor.
Let your yea be nay and your nay be yea.
Yeah. It's what the chosen people do.
Right?
It's what
lovely
the chosen
people,
people do.
They are lovely people, the Jews. The Kol Nidor is an oath that they all swear each year. That is a denial that they will reverse and deny anything that is necessary to be sworn to a goy, which you all are goys, and they are the goys, but you are the Israelites, and they reverse everything. So therefore, these lovely people they are, really.
Yeah.
Swear a false oath that if they must communicate with you, they will deceive you, and must, by their own Talmud, reverse everything they say.
Now, we're referring to them as the chosen people because they are the chosen people. They're chosen of their God,
I've always said that.
Yes, that's
right.
I
didn't choose them.
No, that's right. Chosen of their God, Lucifer. So, because of the laws now that have been passed, now we can't speak against them, and it's called, you know what it's called, anti-Semitism, when in fact it's the reverse, because we are the Semites, but you know. So they are the chosen people.
The chosen are the Germans. I've worked with a lot of Germans. Yes. I've never met a German I didn't like.
The chosen people of Almighty God, Yahweh, the Lord Jesus Christ, are the German people. However, the chosen people, you know, that proclaim the name of that lump of dirt that is Palestine, called Israel, that they have stolen. They are chosen of their God, Lucifer. Absolutely.
I worked with a fellow who, this is when I was married to Eileen.
Sons of the devil.
And he was a Mennonite.
Yes.
I think I might have told you the story. German. And the Mennonite religion is very, very dedicated to God. And I strung him along a little bit because he talked about the Mennonites all the time. And I said, I think my wife wants to be a Mennonite. And his eyes lit up, right? And I played this out for about 2 weeks every day talking about it. Because I go home on the weekends, be with Alan, and come back, hey, she's still talking about me. And finally, I said to him, well, I listened very closely. I stayed awake to hear what she was saying in her sleep. And what she was actually saying was she wanted 4 or 5 men a night.
To which, what was his response?
He was absolutely
Stunned.
well, first off, he was stunned. And then he laughed his
He
head off.
laughed. Oh, good. Now, of course, Mennonites all across Canada.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yes, yeah, very, very big communities. Right, we're over time. We're going.
Right,
Going. It's after 12. Oh, got to play the choir plug for 18 seconds, and we'll be back tomorrow. Okay, later gators.
Hasta la vista, baby, and a hearty zig here.
Zig hand.
I should show the swastika, shouldn't I? I mean, that's very important. There it is.